Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our May 22nd, 2018 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including news about Krypton, news about Supergirl, news about comic books, and so much more. We've got so much news coming out of our ears. I was going to say something else. And we also would like to turn to you for your comments and questions. We'll be referring to you in the Facebook chat to talk about any particular Superman topic you'd like to discuss. And to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show, let me introduce you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. Now, if you're watching this live, you're either doing it via our Facebook page or directly on our website. Seeing as how we're being this live across the internet and therefore around the planet Houston, we'd love to hear from Superman fans right across the world. So to call in and talk to us tonight, you'll need to use Skype. Open Skype, search for Superman Homepage, and send us a message saying you'd like to chat with us live tonight, and we'll try to get to you in the second half hour of our show.
Yes, and as I said, for those tuning in live via Facebook to watch tonight's show, below that video we invite you to post your comments and ask questions in the chat area there, the comments section. Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments and questions to react to them throughout the show. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Tina Murray and Douglas Meacham. Thank you for your support. Well, Mike, we kind of just didn't have any chance to kind of chat off air. We just kind of got on there, got on Skype, got in the thing, and bang, we started going live. So a little bit not unprepared, but you know, just kind of jumping straight into it. How's your week been?
Very busy. I was kind of happy that I found out that I could watch the episode of Supergirl that I missed. Mm-hmm. So I am good on Supergirl, bad on Krypton.
Okay, so, fair enough.
Because of how the week went.
No problem whatsoever. Well, we do have a lot to get through in tonight's show, and I'll try to be as professional as possible because I have not got certain graphics and things up ready to go. But let's start with movie news, as we like to do, and really the only kind of movie news that I have that we can discuss is the fact that the official press release for the Death of Superman animated movie was posted and released this week, and along with the official trailer, which we have spoke about and released, and we played it here on our show last week. But anything in the press release that kind of caught your attention, or is there anything there that was a surprise to you?
Not really. I mean, it seemed like your kind of usual. I mean, frankly, I've gotten kind of numb to these press releases because we get so many of them on a regular basis. But I think it's nice that we're getting some more information about the movie. It is kind of interesting that, you know, the Man of Steel faces his most formidable foe in an all-new animated film. Well, this isn't, strictly speaking, a new animated film. They've done this before. So that seemed like a big hype thing that really isn't. But I didn't really see anything in it that kind of stood out outside of the fact, you know, of course, digitally it's coming out on July 24th because these things always what am I trying to say? They always come out digitally before, you know, the Blu-ray and all that. Mm-hmm. So, did anything stand out to you?
No, other than some of the packaging that there is, and some of the versions of this. Obviously, it's coming out on Blu-ray combo pack and the 4K Ultra HD. But there are also some special edition versions. There's a deluxe version that has the there's one from a deluxe edition that's exclusive. Let me see. Just looking at them here, there's one version that has a limited edition gift set which has the Death of Superman graphic novel that's attached with it. I believe that one is available on Amazon, so that's available. I think it's through Best Buy exclusive, but you can get it through our website through Amazon. So that has a digital graphic a graphic novel available with it. And then there's also that one, the one that has the figure, the Superman with a crop top.
So, yeah, about that figure, does that not look like Superman's exercise outfit?
Seen a few people in the gym wearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make fun of it because it's kind of it's a neat figure.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, I was just like, that looks like it looks like he's either going to the gym or the club. I mean, I haven't quite decided which one of that is how it's going to be. But that I like that they're doing these exclusives. I hate that if you want everything, you have to buy the film like 15 times.
Yeah. Looking at the figure, it's kind of the opposite of what happened in the comic books. Wasn't his chest more exposed because the S was ripped off? But here, the only thing that's really left is the S and the chest piece. The arms ripped off, the abdomen area is ripped off, so he's exposing his six-pack, and his legs are all ripped off. So most of it's just like actually it looks like the shorts that you elusive. Let me see. Just looking at them here, there's one version that has a limited edition gift set which has the Death of Superman graphic novel that's attached with it. I believe that one is available on Amazon, so that's available. I think it's through Best Buy, Best Buy exclusive, but you can get it through our website through Amazon. So that has a digital graphic, a graphic novel available with it. And then there's also that one, the one that has the figure, the Superman with a crop top.
So, yeah, about that figure, does that not look like Superman's exercise outfit?
Seen a few people in the gym wearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make fun of it because it's kind of it's a neat figure.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, I was just like, that looks like it looks like he's either going to the gym or the club. I mean, I haven't quite decided which one of that is how it's going to be. But that I like that they're doing these exclusives. I hate that if you want everything, you have to buy the film like 15 times.
Yeah. Looking at the figure, it's kind of the opposite of what happened in the comic books. Wasn't his chest more exposed because the S was ripped off? But here, the only thing that's really left is the S and the chest piece. The arms ripped off, the abdomen area is ripped off, so he's exposing his six-pack, and his legs are all ripped off. So most of it's just like actually it looks like the shorts the jeans that you buy these days, where everything's ripped off below the knee.
Yeah, it's interesting because we just had that DC, well, what they used to call DC Direct figure set with Superman and Doomsday, where it is comic book appropriate, where his shirt is bare, and if I'm correct, it was the fact that he had the hairy chest in Superman number 75 that kind of led Henry Cavill, after reading that's what he kind of wanted to look like, which is why you have some of his chest hairs peeking up over the costume, which is still kind of weird. But no, the fact that they're doing exclusives doesn't surprise me. I'm really looking forward to the film. The trailer that we discussed last week kind of has me excited for it, and again, I just wish there was a way that you could get kind of like the extra features without having to buy it from 15 different stores.
Yeah, no, so true. So that's, as you said, coming out in, it was August 7th that we said it's coming out. So look for that, and you can order it through the Superman homepage website now as well. Now, the only kind of other movie news that we have was Henry Cavill posted today on both his Facebook account and his Instagram account about the Madame Tussauds Orlando exhibition that's there, the Justice League Call for Heroes, or Call to Heroes promo that they've got there, this exhibition, and he posted a video and a remark saying, "The mastery of the artists at Madame Tussauds never ceases to amaze me. Nevermore as priority access on May 23rd, which is tomorrow for you guys there, to see the attraction before it opens to the public on May 25th. Tickets are $45 per person for admission, plus one collectible item or $60 per person for all 3 unique collectibles that will only be available at the preview event. So get in quick. They might not, if they're already sold out, who knows, but Madame Tussauds Orlando's website is where you can purchase your tickets, and it is coming to Sydney, Australia for fans down here. So I'm looking forward to attending that in later in June. So yeah, looking forward to checking out the Justice League Call for Heroes exhibit at Madame Tussauds. So get along to that.
$60? That those better be some really good collectibles.
Yeah,
to be dropping that kind of change.
All right, well, let's move on to Krypton now. As you've stated, that you're not caught up on Krypton, and we're 1 week behind here in Australia. So the episode Hope, which aired last Wednesday night there in the US, was the most recent episode. It is the penultimate episode of Season 1, with Season 1, Episode 10, titled The Phantom Zone, being the season finale. And I do have the trailer for the season finale, so let's check out the, where is it, Krypton Season 10, where is it? Sorry, I'm just trying to find it right here. Here's the Phantom Zone, Episode 10 of Season 1.
When you've existed as long as I have, there are so few surprises left in the universe.
In the season finale, and having watched up to episode 8, I'm really impressed with how the story's going and all the things that they're throwing in. We've got Doomsday, General Zod, we've got Brainiac, we've got Adam Strange's story, getting a bit more of the backstory about his goal and his aim and what's happening there. It's just really playing out nicely, and the whole story is just really coming to a nice conclusion here, with some epic stories still to be told in the finale.
Yeah, and you're going to get the second season, which I've been watching people on social media over the last couple of days kind of debating whether or not Sci-Fi was going to give it a second season, since they just canceled a show that they have been doing called The Expanse. But it just came in shortly before we started doing the show tonight that it got renewed for the second season, so that's good to hear. That's
right, and here's a little video that they posted on social media for that announcement. All the different symbols of the different House of Zod, House of Vex, House of, what's the other one? And there's obviously House of L, but there's a fourth one in there. Vex.
Yeah, Vex, Zod, Dev, M, House of M.
Yeah, House of M, and obviously the House of L. So all the symbols there leading into the announcement for season 2, which will air in 2019. So really good news that they are renewing Krypton for a second season. Been really impressed with just how good first season has been, and the attention to details. And there was a video posted on the Warner Brothers Entertainment YouTube channel where they took us through the Fortress of Solitude there, Val-El's Fortress of Solitude, and some of the objects that are in the background, like the Black Mercy in a jar, and some other things that are there that just show how rich Val-El's history or his exploration of the universe was, and how much Easter eggs for the DC universe that are thrown into the Fortress of Solitude that are not necessarily ever mentioned or spoken about, but they're there for sharp-eyed fans to check out.
Yeah, I really love that kind of stuff, because I think it just gives a kind of a richness to the backgrounds. And again, it's one of those things where if you're not a Uber fan, it's just kind of going to go right by you, but it still looks kind of cool. But if you know what you're looking for, then it's kind of like some of the things that have been Supergirl recently. where it's just like, oh, I see what you did there. So that's really cool.
So there you have it. That's where Krypton is at, renewed for a second season, and the season finale will air to Wednesday night in the US, and then next week here in Australia. So if you're into Krypton, which you should be, and I know there are a lot of fans who withheld their interest and said, nah, Superman's not in it, I'm not really interested. It's 10 episodes for season 1, so you can catch up pretty quickly, and I promise you won't be disappointed. It's all really, really cool. And the revelations about who General Zod is and his connections to Kal-El and the familial ties there is quite an intriguing one. So get into Krypton. The season finale, as I said, airs Wednesday night there in the USA. The other TV series that we're talking about is Supergirl. And we know that the Supergirl will be renewed for a 4th season, but before we get to talk about some of the stuff that have been revealed about what they're doing next year, The Fanatical was the most recent episode that aired on Monday night, and it's episode 19 of season 3, and it saw Cavill's cult come to the forefront with his followers having got this journal and having been able to decipher the information that's in there to try to create their own 4th world killer.
It was a really good episode. I saw, again, on social media, some people kind of saying that they weren't really all that into it, but I thought not only did it, kind of further the world killer plot, and bring back stuff from earlier in the season with the Krypton cult, but I think it was a really good showcase for Jimmy Olsen. Last season we were complaining a lot that Jimmy didn't have a whole lot to do, whereas Guardian has actually stepped up and become a character in and of himself for the season, and to kind of talk about I don't want to go so far as to say it was a, Black Lives Matter thing,
Sure.
But it was, talking about the fact that systemic racism is a problem in the United States, and when when his helmet got knocked off and the cops showed up, they didn't even try to run after the members of the cult that were there. They were just focused on Jimmy. Now, to be fair, Jimmy was in armor, so maybe you could say that some of them thought that he was the larger threat, but his story later in the episode, I think, one, delivered masterfully by Macabre Brooks, and two, I think it, again, this show tries to say something, and it's continuing to do that. So I really liked the story. I really liked Mon-El in this episode.
Yeah.
Him going undercover with the glasses, and then, them putting him in the handcuffs, and you hear it snap, and you turn around, and he's there in full costume. I was just like, wow, that's really cool. They're really... It's like everybody that was, kind of given short shrift last season has, been given everything they need this season. I really enjoyed the episode. Yeah,
they did. You're right. James got more of a backstory there, and we got to hear about his youth growing up and some of the things that drive him. So, they dealt with the racism angle there. They also dealt with grief and loss with both Ruby and, what's going on with her and her, worrying about her mother. And then Mirren with the loss of his memories and the grief over the loss of his family and his planet, his race, his whole people. So, dealing with grief and how do you get over that, and people trying to push other people to, kind of, just push on, get through it, kind of thing, and you have to really do it in your own time. So they really dealt with a lot of weighty issues in this, and I thought they dealt with them pretty well. They weren't as ham-fisted as they have been in previous episodes.
Yeah, I my wife kind of called it early in the episode that basically Ruby was going to help Marin, and vice versa. But I think it played out nicely in the way it happened. It wasn't. You're right. It wasn't ham-fisted or kind of shoved in there. And I also like that they talked about how Kara's secret identity is different from James's, and how one of the best lines of the episode was, you can come clean, but you're doing it more for yourself than for the other person. And it's like one of these things where Supergirl's basically admitted that she was wrong to do what she did. But she really can't make it right easily because she can't reveal her identity to Lena. And Lena was pretty straight up, like in the previous episode was kind of hinted at, that she's like, we're not friends. We're working together, but I have friends and you're not one of them. So I like that they're able to still kind of have that secret identity tension where she gets along with Kara but doesn't get along with Supergirl.
Yeah, it is an interesting one because you can tell that Kara is really struggling with that, because how do you be friends with someone who hates your other identity? So it's become a real issue for her, and it's being played really well. It was like a real punch to the gut when Lena said to her, why is it so important to you that we be friends? To Supergirl. It's like, well, because we are friends, but you just don't know it. So it's really hard for her. So it's a really interesting angle that they're playing there, and it's good to see that they are dealing with the secret identity part, because it seems in Supergirl to date that every man and his dog seems to know that Kara is Supergirl, especially at the DEO. So not much of a secret identity going on there, but I guess they're all kind of held to some kind of oath that they're not allowed to share certain secrets.
Before we go too much further, I do want to make a quick mention, since I finally got to see the previous week's episode, that the fire ice bullets thing of Kara going into Lex's thing was not only did it look good, but it was a great reference to Superman the movie, but it was just a great scene in general. I was just like, wow, this is how you reference the past.
Yes.
You just do it, and if you know, again, like we were talking about with Krypton, if you know, it's cool, but if not, it's still kind of neat on its own.
No, it was a great tribute to Superman the movie, the extended cut where you see the fire, ice, and bullets scene that Lex Luthor put Superman through when he's getting towards his lair there underground. But great tribute, and as you said, well played out. Whether you realised that it was a tribute to that movie or not, it looked really good.
Absolutely.
All right, so next week's episode of Supergirl is called Dark Side of the Moon. It is episode 20 of season 3, and I have the trailer right here.
What is that? There's an entire city here. Supergirl is on a mission that's gonna fix your mom. My mom has disappeared.
I will set fire to your world.
Watch out!
Mom.
Supergirl, all new episode Monday at 8, 7 Central on the CW.
Nice appearance by Lara.
Yeah, that was it's kind of interesting just watching the trailer in and of itself, that maybe they're hinting a little more at Argo being a separate thing like it was in the comics, which would be kind of an interesting way to go with the series, because I think it would kind of fundamentally change how Kara reacts to where, her being on Earth and such. It was the same way kind of in the comics, where Superman's parents were dead, but Kara could go see her parents pretty much whenever she wanted to. So I wonder if that would change the dynamic or not. But it looks neat.
Yes, sorry, I should say Allura, not Lara. Lara is Kal-El's mother.
They both have La in it at some point. So.
Thank you for Scott in the comments correcting me there. So, yes, obviously, that whole story of Argo City being, still surviving somehow, surviving Krypton's destruction. It's, it's a story from the comic books. It's in the Superman the Animated Series, Argo was a sister planet that Supergirl was on that survived the destruction of Krypton. So there are elements there that are tied into the Supergirl story, definitely. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and just how many survivors there are, who they are. We look forward to episode 20 called Dark Side of the Moon, airing next Monday night. Now, we do have a description beyond that, episode 21, titled Not Kansas, and the description for that reads, Kara makes a major life decision. Meanwhile, Jean finds out that special DEO caliber guns have hit the streets of National City.
Wow, okay. That's, I mean, the Kara making a life decision, that seems to be something they do at the end of every season, with just about all these characters. But no, that's the DEO weapons on the street will make for an interesting episode. I wonder if this is going to be, because we're so close to the end of the season, if this is the episode towards the end of the season that just kind of spins its wheels for the week, and then the real ramp up to the end takes place the next week, because it always seems like there's that one episode that's like, you could have removed this completely from the season and it wouldn't have had any effect on it. But looking forward to that nonetheless.
Now, do you guys have these what are they called, snuggies, or these blankets, these throws with sleeves?
Yes, snuggies. Yeah, and
that looks like what they're wearing there.
Yeah, some of them are plain. Some of them have Superman on them.
Yes.
Which I think is... I don't wear them because I'm kind of warm-natured to begin with, and I live in the South. So even when we're in winter and it's cold, it's not that cold. But, they just basically raided some snuggies, and that's their ceremonial robes.
So
that's kind of funny.
Yeah, there's some images from Dark Side of the Moon, which is, as I said, the upcoming episode of Supergirl. Now, also, we have beyond that the announcement that the show has, as we know, been renewed for a season 4, but it's going to be moving from Monday nights to Sunday nights at 8 p.m, same time. What does this mean for television shows in the US? Is this the death knell of the show? Is this a good move? How is it going to affect the show?
Well, it's interesting because up until this point, the CW only had a Monday through Friday 8 to 10 o'clock schedule. Mm-hmm. So this is one of two things. I don't think it's the death knell. If it's the death knell, they either put it on Friday or Saturday night. That's what they did with Lois and Clark in the 4th season. They moved it to the Saturday night, and it just tanked even harder. Sunday nights are actually a pretty decent night for television viewing in the States. I think if you're going to expand to another night, you do lead with strength, and Supergirl is definitely one of their strengths. And the fact that it's going to be followed by a new version of Charmed, I think the CW, in my opinion, now I could be completely wrong, but I think the CW, in my opinion, is kind of putting Supergirl here because they know that if they're going to launch it on a Sunday night, that it's a good show to do it with, because it is a family show at the end of the day. Now, I'm a little mad because, we changed our night that we do this because of Supergirl, and now they're, 3 seasons in, they're changing on us, so thanks, guys.
Yes, we'll stick to Tuesday nights, I think, but unless Monday night's better for you, we'll discuss that. Yeah, okay. We'll worry about that before we get to that point in time, but... it's an interesting one. So, Supergirl Sunday nights, 8 p.m. for season 4, as you said, followed by the new version of Charmed right afterwards. DC Legends of Tomorrow will take over the Monday night 8 p.m. time slot, which will be followed by Arrow at 9 p.m. The Flash will hold its Tuesday 8 p.m. night, and then it will be followed by Black Lightning at 9 p.m. on Tuesday. Meanwhile, there's talk about the next crossover event that will take place between these shows, and there is talk that Batwoman will be part of the upcoming crossover.
Yeah, that was one. It's not surprising because Batwoman is a pretty popular character within the DC universe at this point. But also, it's a great way to have a Bat character in there, but not have Batman. Mm-hmm. You can kind of circumvent that. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see how they do it. What Earth is she going to be on? Is it going to be a completely separate Earth that just basically has all the Bat characters on it? Or is this going to be Gotham in, like, the Arrowverse with, the Flash's Earth and all that? But, it's a costume that, man, it's kind of made ready for CW when you really look at it. It's just a pretty simple one piece with a black and red cape. So I'm pretty excited that they're going to bring her in. Now, are they going to be able to top last year, with the Crisis on Earth X? I think they're really going to have to do a lot to do that. And I think maybe bringing a Bat character is the only way you can.
Yeah, so the city of Gotham will be added into the Arrowverse, as it's called. And Mark Pedowitz, the CW boss, said this will be another full-throttled, action-packed event. So looking forward to seeing what story they come up with for the crossover that will take place next season. All right, well, we're at the halfway point of tonight's show, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back on the other side to talk about more Supergirl stuff, Arrowverse stuff, and then we're also going to be talking about some of the comic book things that have been happening, especially the solicitations for August, which have some really interesting and revelations about what's coming up, and we look forward to talking about that right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode, so stand by.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
I'm freezing! Superman!
Uh-oh, sounds like Lisa and Scott are trapped in the icy cave of that frosty-faced villain, Captain Cold. This is a job for Superman.
My fast freeze zapper will freeze Superman forever.
No way, Captain. Here, kids, my new Superman Hot Cocoa Mix is the super tasting way to warm up.
It's really sweet and chocolatey.
And see, Captain Cold can't take this warm reception. New Superman Hot Cocoa, the super tasting way to warm up.
And we're back on WGBS TV Live, and wouldn't mind some hot cocoa right about now. It's getting cold here.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're getting colder, and it's starting to get surface of the sun here. So,
looking forward to my trip to Metropolis, where I'll be back in t-shirts.
Yeah, but man, is it hot in Metropolis in June. So I wish you all the best on that.
Now, just quickly before we move away from TV news, Stephen Amell, who, as we know, stars as Arrow in Arrow, spoke at a recent convention panel for Green Arrow, for the Arrow show at Motor City Comic Con, where he spoke about what characters from the DC Universe he'd like to see included in the Arrowverse, and he said straight away, Superman, stating that he'd really like what Tyler Hoechlin did with the role, and he'd love to see Clark Kent or Superman appear in an upcoming episode of Arrow.
It'd be a little weird to pull off because, it's a different Earth, but at the same time, more Tyler Hoechlin as Superman is good for me. I mean, I think I really kind of missed him this season, not really getting a really good guest appearance or him in the costume. But, you know, Stephen Amell has a really good way of connecting with the fans. So to me, this is like, you know, his wish list, but I wonder if it's going to be one of those things where he says it, now everybody is thinking that it's either going to happen or going to complain if it doesn't happen. So, yeah, I did like seeing that, though.
Yeah, so he says that I thought Tyler did a great job, and I had an opportunity to fangirl over Tom Welling, so obviously he's had a meeting with Tom Welling recently, or came across him, but he says, I would love for Oliver and Clark to eventually meet. I think that would be incredible. And the last time we saw Tyler Hoechlin as Superman was, I believe, season 2 of Supergirl. We haven't seen him this season at all, have we?
Yeah, you know, okay, looking at this picture of Superman, and did they just strip the S off and repaint one of the costumes for Mon-El? Because Mon-El has the shield on his costume. I'm wondering if they just...
Let me see if I can get a side-by-side. Let me get an image, a close-up image.
I hate to make things difficult for you, but I'm just kind of curious about this now.
No, here we go. I've got a good image that I can put up here side-by-side. And let me just blow it up a little bit. And I'll move Tyler a bit to... Whoops, Tyler just disappeared. Where did Tyler go? So, yeah, looking at that, the clips are the same. Obviously, there's a difference in the colours, especially the leather is totally different there. Here he goes. So looking at it, there are some differences in the patterns.
Yeah, man.
So there's different lines in the middle there compared to the lines in Mon-El's costume, but there's definitely the shape of the S there. Although he has got the high collar and the high neck area, Mon-El. So there are quite a few differences, but they are very similar, I guess, in cut.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I did need to see kind of a side by side to be proven completely wrong, which is okay.
So there you have it. There are similarities, but they are obviously still different. Alright, so moving away from both movies and TV, let's get into the stuff that's been happening or announced this week in the comic book world. And if you're a fan of the Super Sons, then there is good news, because we had thought that issue 16, which is coming out next Wednesday, was going to be the final issue of the title, and then there was going to be that crossover with Dino Martin Blue Falcon that was also scheduled to be released on May 30th. Now, the director of publicity at DC Comics, Michael Schelling, announced via Twitter that Peter J. Tomasi will not only be returning to write that Super Sons Dino Mart special, but he'll also be penning a 12-issue maxi series titled Adventures of the Super Sons, which will be released on August 1st.
Yeah, and, you know, we got the, what are those called? The solicitations as well that pointed towards this. And it's just one of those things where I really think Superman fandom, I understand that we're kind of still gun shy. We're used to getting kicked around. We're used to having things that we like taken away from us. And we're used to DC kind of making some boneheaded decisions with directions and such. But at the same time, I think since Rebirth, things have been on a pretty good track. So when they were canceling Super Sons and Supergirl, I had faith that they were going to bring it back in some form. And I think a maxi series might be the best way to handle these characters, because one, it gives you a monthly fix to the people that want it, but also, if you're going to do it this way, you're kind of, ready making the trade paperbacks, and I think that's a secondary market that these characters would do very well in.
Mm-hmm. So there you have it. That's the cover for the first issue of Adventures of the Super Sons, which, as I said, will be scheduled to be released on August 1st, so looking forward to that. Now, we also, as part of the solicitations, found out that there are going to be more DC Looney Tunes specials following the sales and supposedly critical success of titles like Batman, Elmer Fudd. Warner Brothers classic cartoon characters will get the DC Comics treatment this August when we see other one-shots, including, get ready for it, Lex Luthor Porky Pig Special #1.
Okay, you ever see the movie The Shining?
Yes, of course.
You remember that scene where Jack Torrance is walking in the hotel and the one guy has like the bear costume on and it's really creepy? Yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting from this live-action Porky Pig. It's a horror show. I'm going to wake up screaming because of this cover.
Well, it's an interesting one. It's written by Mark Russell with art by Brad Walker and Andrew Hennessy, and it says, facing financial and personal ruin, a desperate Porky Pig applies for and gets an entry-level position with LexCorp. Grateful to his new benefactor, Porky becomes Luthor's most loyal employee and defender. But when a major scandal breaks in the news and Lex is called before a congressional committee, guess who is about to be offered up as a sacrificial pig?
You know, Otis and Porky Pig do have a lot in common outside of a speech impediment.
Bri, 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 bri.
This is Mr. Luthor.
So that's coming up in August. It will be released August 29th. It is a 48-page issue. So, look, I'm just kind of interested to have a look at it just to see whether it's good or really, really bad.
Oh, I think it's going to be good, and the plot that they've kind of put out is actually kind of cool. I just think that cover is frightening on a number of levels.
Yeah, indeed. Now, the other interesting news coming out of the solicitations was about Supergirl and the fact that she's not only coming back, because we thought that the series had ended with issue number 20, but there's a new creative team that's coming on board to write Supergirl, and she's getting a number of different costumes, which is interesting. Your take on that news?
I'm a little surprised that they're giving her new costumes. Usually when you do a new costume, it's when you're trying to bring kind of attention to the character to kind of revitalize it. But Supergirl, especially, going into its 4th season, is still pretty successful. But at the same time, I don't know how well the previous series was doing. I stopped reading it after a while, so I don't know where it was on the sales charts. I don't know where it was in terms of, trade paperback sales. So it could be that they're going in this direction because the old kind of more TV version may not have been working out in the comics, and they're just trying something new here. It's an interesting looking costume. And Kevin Maguire being the writer, the artist on the series is good news because he's a fantastic artist. But I'm just kind of curious as to why, with a successful television series, they would want to go in this new direction with the art.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's not just one costume, it's a series of costumes. As I'm going to put up here, we've got different costumes that will be part of. There's one on the left there. There's another one that I'm putting in the middle there. And there's a third one putting on the right there, which is basically the same one as the middle, but just without a cape. And then there's the more traditional one, which we have on the right there. So, interesting choices. I'm not sure why or what's the reasoning behind them. I don't mind some of them. It'll be interesting to see from a story perspective why there is a need for a change of costumes.
Yeah, I like the hood on the one, and I really can't decide if I just like the straight up black and red over the more blue black and red. I think they're all pretty sharp in terms of design, and I like Kara's face too. It's she looks like a teenage girl, which I think is pretty good. The redesign of the classic costume, though, is a really good version of it, I think. I like the kind of yellow belt in the middle and they're going with the high boots that the television series has. But it looks more like she's wearing a dress with a belt in the middle instead of, kind of cinching it off instead of a shirt and skirt type of situation.
So they're the different costumes there that they've revealed, and that in the middle that you see right now is issue number 22, the cover to issue number 22, and issue number 21, which will be the first issue of this new team, is right there. So that is what we've got. We've got Eisner Award-winning creative team of Mark Andreyko and artist Kevin Maguire taking over the title and taking Kara in an entirely new direction with issue number 21 coming out in August. Look for that, and an interview that's up on our website now. So, it's exciting that she's back, because we were concerned that with all these titles like Superwoman and Super Sons and Trinity and Supergirl all having come to an end at the end of this rebirth era, heading into the new era with Bendis taking over the Superman and Action Comics titles, that we might not get some of these titles back. But as we know, Super Sons 12-issue maxi series and Supergirl continuing on with issue number 21 where she left off at the end of issue number 20. So good news there for Superman fans.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they're not giving her a new number 1, which traditionally, especially in the last 20 years, publishers have really liked to do. So I guess it's kind of a faith in the series itself that it wasn't canceled, it's just now continuing.
Yeah, which is really good. Now, the rest of the August solicitations were also released this week, and from the Superman perspective, there's Action Comics 1002 is out in August, as is the next issue of Superman. I'm just trying to get up the solicitations here. What caught your eye other than those two particular issues, Michael?
Not a whole lot this month. There really aren't a whole lot of good collected editions coming out. I really have no interest in the Injustice Masters of the Universe crossover. Because it's like, are we the last time they teamed up He-Man and Superman like this, it was in the New 52, and they killed him, and he wasn't even really part of the series, the story for most of it. So, it's not a boring month because you're having the continuation of the Bendis stories, and you have the new family titles coming in. But other than that, nothing really kind of stood out to me.
So as I mentioned, there's the new issues of Action Comics 1002, which is right there in the middle of your screen right now. And that reads, a bold new era of the adventures of the Man of Steel continues as bodies fall from the sky and buildings burn around the city of tomorrow. Even Superman must wonder how well he knows the city he protects as an unknown criminal element begins to rise throughout Metropolis. That is Action Comics 1002.
It's still really weird to see that in the solicitation. Like the number 1002 next to an issue like that. That's actually really cool.
And then Superman number 2 is right there, and that description reads, the world quakes and shakes as it begins to succumb to the effects of the entire planet being moved into the lifeless realm known as the Phantom Zone. As Superman works with the world's greatest heroes, an old enemy trapped in the same prison returns to stop the Man of Steel and escape.
I really like that cover with Superman trapped in the album cover of Doom, as I've heard some people call it.
Yeah, very much like the movie version of the Phantom Zone there, which is a pretty cool homage. So that is the cover to Superman number 2, also written by Brian Michael Bendis. Looking forward to this era of the Superman kicking off with next week's, I think it is, Man of Steel number 1 comes out May 30th. So looking forward to all that kicking off very, very soon. So that's
it hit me this week that it's actually coming out. It's kind of funny because I didn't get a chance to read the Superman special even though I bought it, because I'm now out of the rhythm of reading the books on a regular basis, because we don't have, 4 of them in a month. So it's just like, when is the next issue? Oh, yeah, next week. Okay, yeah, everything will get back to normal after that.
Yeah, well, I did read Superman Special #1 and was very impressed with the first 2 stories. The third one was pretty good as well, but the first 2 stories were quite good. One of them finishing off the story of the Dinosaur Island story and everything that happened on there, and adding, tying a nice little bow into that, the resolution of that. So I was quite impressed with Superman Special #1. And liked the stories that were in there and the emotion that was in them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it because the Dinosaur Island 2-parter was one of my favorites of Tomasi and Gleason's run. So it's nice that they got to kind of put a bow on their runs outside of the final issues both Jurgens and Tomasi and Gleason had.
Yeah. Well, let's bring in Mark Lax, our regular caller, who is waiting patiently to just chat with us about the comic books, and we'll bring him in right now. I believe he is right there. Hello, Mark. No, I can kind of hear that he's connected. There he is. Mark, can you hear us?
He's waiting patiently to...
Yes.
Yes, can you just mute the video in the background? That'll be great.
The comic books.
Yes.
And we'll bring him in.
Every day. Hold on. Okay, all right.
How you doing?
Guys.
I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
All right. Okay, not too bad.
That's good. So, Superman Special #1, did you manage to read this issue?
Yes, I did, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than Action Comics Special, which was okay. The first story in Action Comics Special was pretty good. The rest, not so much. But this one, I enjoyed it all the way through. Really, the first story, I enjoyed when they did the Dinosaur Island story a year or two ago, and this was great that they went back to that, and it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the way that they finalised that story. It kind of was a loose thread that needed to be finished off there, so it was great to see that they went there and finished that off. And I thought the way that Superman and John handled it was especially interesting and heartwarming.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, how much are you looking forward to the Bendis era starting next week?
I'm really excited for it. I really am. I know a lot of people are trepidatious and they're afraid Lois and John are gone. They're not there anymore. I don't think that's the case. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's not the case.
Yeah, I agree.
Of course, when they announced this new Super Sons, people kind of got excited, and then if you notice, it's sort of not a prequel, but it sort of takes place before these stories that we're going to be reading now. But that doesn't mean that John is not going to be around.
No, well, I kind of think that he definitely will be, because when looking at an interview by Sci-Fi with Bendis this past couple of days, talking about continuity and where things were at, he says, I know people are worried about it, but I tell them that you don't have to worry. We're not throwing everything out. We're writing Superman stories that take place in the modern day. They're going to be dangerous and exciting, and they're going to be in continuity.
Yeah, he's been trying to allay a lot of people's fears because, just people for whatever reason being so trepidatious about it. I don't know, but yeah, everything he says seems to make me want to say, yeah, I really want to read these books, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, indeed. Anything else you wanted to leave us with before we let you go for tonight?
Oh no, I've been reading No Justice, Justice League No Justice, and the first issue was good. The second issue, I don't know. I know it's all leading into something big for Justice League, which looks interesting. But I don't know. Reading it digitally and all that, there's so many splash pages and all of this. It's kind of hard to, even with guided view, it's kind of hard to read it. But it's getting a little confusing. I thought there was going to be one book for each group, one issue for each group, and then in the end, they all come together. But they're using in each book, you see each group, the entropy, wisdom, and all of that. So it's a little confusing, but we'll see.
Yeah, no,
that's about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's been interesting, but a little bit confusing at this point. But as we probably get to see more of the groups expanding, mystery, wisdom, entropy, and all those guys, see where it goes. But a little bit hard to follow with so many characters in the one story at the moment. Yeah. But we'll see. There's only 2 more issues to go, so they better ramp things up pretty quickly. Thanks, Mark.
I agree, yeah.
Appreciate you calling in. Guys. Always great to hear from you.
All right. You guys take care. Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, I think I hang up on Michael right there too. So I'll just get Michael back quickly and we'll continue on. Sorry, Michael, accidentally hung up on you there.
That's okay.
So, that's where we're at with the comic books. Before we do finish up, I did want to go back quickly to the TV side of things, where Warner Brothers Animation and DC Entertainment gave us our first look at a new redesign of the DC Superhero Girls characters ahead of a new TV series scheduled to air on Cartoon Network. They're actually going to be doing a different DC Superhero Girls TV series. They've been doing webisodes up till this point in time online, and some of them have been airing on TV, but they've only been very short. But here is a new look at the characters designed by Lauren Forst, and this reboot of the franchise will see them, as I said, launch into their own TV series later this year, and we've got a new kind of focus on Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Batgirl, Bumblebee, Zatanna, and Green Lantern Jessica Cruz as they figure out what it means to be heroes growing up.
Wonder Woman's really weird looking. I mean, just the face, but I'm glad that they're going for an actual series. I think one of the things that we complain about especially with Cartoon Network, is that they tend to cancel series when the toy lines and such don't do well. Mm-hmm. But the Superhero Girls line seems to be continuing to sell very well. So I'm kind of hoping that means that this series will stick around for a little while and they won't bump it around the schedule like they did with some of the other shows.
Yeah, exactly. And that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. So before we do sign off, I'd like to thank everyone for watching tonight's episode of WGBS TV Live, and thank all those who called in, were in the comments area, giving your thoughts and questions and ideas on what we've been talking about, and to Mark Lax, who called in to chat with us tonight. And a big thank you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Thanks, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve. And
a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Tina Murray and Douglas Meacham. If you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, then please head to patreon.com/Superman homepage, where you too can be a sponsor for as little as $3. The complete 1-hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and our Facebook page if you'd like to watch it back, or perhaps you missed part of the show. But we'll be back next week with Scotty V on Tuesday, May 29th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. Yes, it's already the end of the month next week, so May 29th, Scotty will be joining us to talk about all the things that we like to talk about and do the segments that we do once a month. And we look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.